Hi guys, SGT here, and I am extremely grateful to have the outstanding researcher and truth teller, Harvey Organ, on the phone. And I wanted to thank our mutual friend Code Matrix for getting me in touch with Harvey and making this interview possible. So thank you, Code Matrix. Harvey's website, harveyorganblogspot.com, is an absolute daily must-read, ranking at the very top of the list, along with the Zero Hedge. Harvey was called to testify at the March 2010 CFTC hearing, the exact same hearing which netted the bombshell testimony of Jeff Christian, in which Christian admitted 100 paper ounces of silver and gold exist for every 1 ounce of physical.
Precious metals are financial assets, and like currencies and T-bills and T-bonds, they trade in the multiples of 100 times the underlying physical.
Now, Harvey, first, thank you so much for joining us. I'm honored to have you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Harvey, you were called to testify before the CFTC because you had alerted them about your visit to the Scotiabank vault under the control of MacLeod, in which you and your son Lenny were shocked by a vault which contained precious little physical gold and silver. Harvey, can you briefly recap that story for us?
Well, what actually happened was that the family was doing a reorganization, and we had to do an audit. And the auditors came in and said, well, they ran down to 40 King Street in Toronto and says, we're here to do an audit. And they said, well, you can't come in. And we said, what? These are auditors.
Harvey, this was an audit of your physical precious metal.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And what had actually happened was that we received this through our COMEX purchases. Mm-hmm. Through Bank of Nova Scotia, and they are one of the carriers. MacLeod, they're 100% owned by the Bank of Nova Scotia, mm-hmm. And they brought our silver and gold up from New York, and it was housed in Toronto. And then when the family wanted to do the reorganization, of course, we had the auditors had to do an audit, and that's when the fun begins. And the other thing was also scary at the time was we were hearing a lot of funny things going on with disappearing silver and gold around the planet. Mm-hmm. So my son was also very scared, and that's why he demanded to go in as well. And there was a whole series of letters written by the lawyers that demanded that they were to see what was there. And finally, we don't know how, but my son, I was in Czechoslovakia at the time, but my son goes in, and he sees that our silver and gold was not there. He actually went in, and they said, where's ours? Not there. And he takes a note of how much of silver and gold was there, and basically the unallocated was basically nothing, and the allocated he could see. So the stuff that was allocated, like Eric Sprott's stuff, was certainly there, mm-hmm. And I think the bullion fund was certainly there, but the amount of unallocated, or on the other side, they called it unallocated, was nothing, which means all the banks with certificates of silver and gold were basically non-existent there.
Well, and Harvey, let me just jump in to reiterate what Lenny said. Lenny said that he saw approximately 60 1,000-ounce bars, which they called their working supply. Yeah. And he saw 0 100-ounce bars, 0 10-ounce bars, 0 American Eagles, and 0 Canadian Maples for silver. They had 60 1,000-ounce bars they called the working supply. This is insane.
Well, here's what you don't know, was that all the major Canadian storage is kept at the Bank of Nova Scotia, nowhere else. So if we went to, let's say, the CIBC to get a certificate of deposit, basically the bars will be stored at the Bank of Nova Scotia on 40 King Street. It's mm-hmm. the dominant, for all the people's silver and gold mm-hmm. up here in Canada. So it's amazing that they had so little. And as in this 2-year period, we are seeing a massive confusion, and I try to show this in the website, is the volume of silver and gold that are mostly silver is leaving, going to put out fires all over the world, and that's what we're witnessing now. See, and my job is to kind of alert everybody. This is not a normal situation. This is very abnormal. when you're seeing that the COMEX is behaving in a way which certainly is signaling that there's a crisis.
It's criminal, Harvey, and I know that you know that, but Jim Rickards is even reporting, as you mentioned on your own recent commentary, that a Swiss bank client that he's aware of, has $40 million in physical gold and silver, which this unnamed Swiss bank would not release to this person. And they hemmed and hawed, and it took this gentleman 30 days. It took him the involvement of his attorneys. It took the threat of going public to Reuters and to others in order for this Swiss bank to cough up his $40 million of gold, allocated gold, for which he had a receipt.
1 ton of gold is allocated. This is not unallocated. This is allocated, which obviously the gold is disappearing, and certain litigious guys who want their gold are going to demand it, and therefore they're trying to steal from one guy to another. Mm-hmm. And this is why Jim Rickards is probably saying, get it out of a bank now. And this is not a very healthy situation we're seeing.
One can take advantage of this criminal manipulation of physical prices because they are still infinitesimally low based on this paper manipulation, which has put the criminal bankers in a box. So let me read this to you, which you noted on your commentary. This is research from Rob Kirby.
Oh, very good stuff. This is a good one, by the way. This Rob Kirby is very good because this is the second most fantastic paper that he's written, and the other one, of course, is the one on bonds, which is called The Elephant in the Room. So there's two, but you go ahead and ask, and I'll try to tell you about what this means.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, here goes. So Rob Kirby writes, there are a total of 417 billion notional in gold derivatives outstanding, and the gold-silver price ratio currently is 49-1. He asks, then why are outstanding notional silver derivatives $127 billion compared to the $417 billion in gold? These BIS, Bank of International Settlement numbers, suggest that the proper gold and silver ratio, based on those figures I just mentioned, should be roughly 3.3-1, or silver price today at $424 per ounce, Harvey.
Yes, that is correct.